Hello?
Hi, is that Tanya?
Yes, Simon. Lovely to hear you. How are you?
Very well, and we're so looking forward to seeing you.
So am I.
Now, I don't have a lot of time, I'm afraid, so I wanted to make sure we've got all your details. Have you confirmed your flights?
Yes, I'm definitely coming on the 22nd of June.
Excellent. Have you got your flight number?
Not with me, I'm afraid, but I promise I'll email it. Let me make a note of all this.
Yes, do, because one of us will try to come and collect you from the airport if we can. I presume you'll be coming into Terminal 1?
I don't know. I'll have to find out which one it is.
Yes, you must. We don't want to be waiting at the wrong one.
But hang on, I'll be arriving at about lunchtime, and that'll mean you have to take time off work to pick me up. You really mustn't do that.
Look, we're not all that busy at work, and if there's a problem, I can text you when you arrive, and you can take a taxi.
Okay.
There's a really good company called Pantera.
Can you spell that?
It's Pantera. They have a stand at the airport. You can't miss it, and they're really reliable.
Great, thanks. How far are you from the airport?
About 40 minutes.
And you're near the city centre, aren't you?
We're east of it, actually. Don't tell the driver city centre because you'll really get caught up in traffic.
Okay, and I'll make sure I carry your address with me. Now, have you got my mobile, cell phone number?
Yes, you sent it last month.
But I tell you what, I don't think I've got yours. I'd better have it now, just in case.
Okay, and I changed it recently anyway. Ready? It's 07765 328 411.
Thanks. Now, what should I pack?
Well, all the usual, casual clothes mainly. Though you'd better bring an evening dress. We'll be having at least one fancy dinner in a hotel restaurant. Okay, now, when you're coming, unfortunately the weather is not going to be brilliant.
I know, it's the rainy season. I'm bringing an umbrella.
We have tons of those, so don't pack one. But pack a raincoat, a good one, 'cause we'll try and get out for plenty of hikes.
Okay, sure. Sounds super. Just what I love. And I'd better remember to pack my sturdy walking shoes.
Excellent idea. It's pretty rugged round here, so they have to be tough.
I can imagine. I'm so looking forward to getting out. Oh, Simon, before I forget, you recommended I read a book about your area.
Yeah.
What was the name again? I'd like to read it to get an idea of the history, etc.
It's called Mountain Lives, and it's...
Hang on, I'm just writing it down. Okay?
And it's by Rex Campbell.
Great. I'll try and get hold of that.
Well worth it.
One day around 850 CE, a goat herd named Caldi observed that after nibbling on some berries, his goats started acting abnormally. Caldi tried them himself, and soon enough, he was just as hyper. This was humanity's first run-in with coffee, or so the story goes. When exactly people began consuming coffee is unclear, but at some point before the 1400s, in what's now Ethiopia, people began foraging for wild coffee in the forest undergrowth. The reason coffee plants are equipped with lots of caffeine might be because it makes them unattractive to herbivores or more attractive to pollinators. But either way, people caught on to coffee's advantages and began making tea from its leaves, combining its berries with butter and salt for a sustaining snack, and drying, roasting, and simmering its cherries into an energizing elixir. Coffee rode trade routes into the Middle East, and its widespread popularity began brewing in earnest in the 1450s. Upon returning from a visit to Ethiopia, a Sufi leader recommended that worshippers in Yemen use coffee during ritual chants and dances. Soon enough, people within the Ottoman Empire began roasting and grinding the beans to yield a darker, bolder beverage. Many gathered in guest houses and outside mosques to partake in coffee's comforts. But authorities grew concerned about whether coffee's influence was innocent or intoxicating, and if Muslims should be allowed to drink it. Indeed, in 1511, a religious court in Mecca put coffee on trial. Scholars finally deemed it permissible, so coffee houses sprang up in Damascus, Istanbul, and beyond, where clientele could sip coffee, smoke, and enjoy a variety of entertainment. By the late 1500s, people in Yemen were farming coffee and exporting it from the port of Al-Maha, which became known in other parts of the world as mocha. But coffee was eventually transported or smuggled into India and soon took root in Java and beyond. Meanwhile, the Ottoman Empire introduced the stimulating substance to Europe. Central London's first coffee houses opened in the 1650s. By 1663, there were more than 80, and despite King Charles II's attempt to ban them in 1675, coffee houses kept simmering as social and intellectual hotbeds. Meanwhile, European empires began profiting off coffee growing, establishing enslaved or exploited workforces in Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. As cultivation boomed in Latin America, fueled by slavery, growers displaced indigenous populations and burned forests to establish ever-expanding plantations. Yet coffee workers worldwide continued to endure inhumane conditions and insufficient compensation. This motivated certification efforts for coffee production that met ethical standards, including minimum wage and sustainable farming, but issues still loom over the industry. And because of climate change, the equatorial bean belt where coffee thrives is projected to shrink in upcoming decades. It's unclear exactly what this might look like, but scientists are investigating possibilities like resilient coffee hybrids that might help weather the unpredictable future, all to protect the beverage that's become a cherished part of daily rituals worldwide.
It has been 4 decades since the Equal Pay Act came into force. How close are we to achieving the goal of gender equality in the workplace?
When the Act was introduced, the average pay gap between men and women was 34%, and now women earn on average 85p against every pound earned by men. Despite this positive trend, the gender pay gap has not closed further in the past few years. The picture is even more disappointing when statistics are broken down according to sector, region, or even age. For example, women in their 40s earn 27% less than their male counterparts. Though this is not the widest gap, it does illustrate how far we are away from achieving equality. Still, there is evidence that the UK is less tolerant of discrimination in the workplace against women than it was some 40 years ago.
I'm glad you brought up the subject of discrimination. As you well know, a recent independent report urges businesses to make 1 in 4 of their board a woman. And that's not all. The report actually states that if companies do not comply, they will have to face government measures. This borders on positive discrimination and will inevitably cause existing board members to feel resentful of a woman who has been given a seat on the board because of her gender rather than her ability. So I'd go so far as to say that the report does women a disservice, even though it has received positive feedback.
I'm not going to disagree with you outright, but you cannot deny that women are severely underrepresented at decision-making tables across the UK. This fact alone indicates that boards are at a disadvantage simply because of their makeup, as research has clearly shown that more diverse management teams make better decisions. What is needed, then, are positive examples where organisations take this matter seriously by actively seeking out qualified and able women for the boardroom, instead of just going through the motions and agreeing that something should be done. This is something companies have got away with for too long. Take Wales, for instance, where women distinctly lack power and influence in key business and public roles. So far, only 2 of the top 50 companies in that country have female executives, despite promises that things would change.
You're right to point out that women are underrepresented at boardroom level, but I don't think the way to increase gender ratio at that level and reduce the gender pay gap is to force the issue. If you examine the table of the best countries for gender equality, you'll see that the Nordic countries top the list, with Iceland, Norway, Finland and Sweden occupying the top 4 positions in that order. It is interesting to note that in these countries the ratio of women in government is higher than in those countries with less equality. Further down, the US has risen from 31st to 19th because of the higher number of women in the president's administration, and France has gone the other way, dropping from 18th to 46th place. According to the World Economic Forum, this fall came about as a result of a decline in the number of women holding ministerial positions in the country. I think these facts clearly illustrate when gender equality is attainable and when it is not.
I'm afraid you've got it the wrong way round. In those Nordic countries you mentioned, the persistent stereotyping of women's skills and capabilities, which lead to women bearing the brunt of caring responsibilities and discrimination in the pay system, has largely been eradicated. The resulting lower gender gaps have been correlated with high economic competitiveness, which obviously means that women and girls must be treated equally if a country is to prosper. In the Nordic countries, the division between gender is almost non-existent in health and education and is much narrower in economic participation and opportunity than in countries lower down the list. So, a proactive approach is required to allow women to participate more fully in the decision-making process and to receive equal pay in the workplace. When this happens, countries will be able to realize their potential.
From samba blocos in Brazil to masked balls in Italy, Carnival is a truly global phenomenon, celebrated in over 50 countries around the world. Carnival originated as a pagan festival in ancient Egypt to usher out winter and celebrate the beginning of spring. When Alexander the Great conquered Egypt, the ancient Greeks adopted the festival. The Romans assimilated the festival from the Greeks, and it was later overlaid with Christian meaning to become the festival of Carne Vale. The word carne means meat in Latin, and vale means farewell. In the Catholic calendar, Carnevale, farewell to meat, is a feast before the fast of Lent. In 18th century Italy, people preparing for Lent would throw indulgent fancy dress parties and gorge before the fast. As Christianity spread across Europe, so too did the celebration of Carnival. Colonization exported it across the world. Portuguese colonists took Lent to the shores of Brazil, where they had also taken an estimated 4 million African slaves. Over time, European rituals fused with African ones to create Brazil's world-famous carnival. The flamboyant street parties are a celebration of Brazil's mixed heritage, and it's big business. In 2016, the city of Rio alone welcomed 1.1 million tourists during Carnival, contributing around $900 million to the city's economy. On the Caribbean island of Trinidad, the Festival of Lent was introduced by French colonists. Slaves, excluded from these celebrations, created their own parties to the soundtrack of calypso music, which mocked the French. This is now an integral part of Trinidad's carnival. In India, Carnival is only celebrated in the southern state of Goa, where Portuguese colonists ruled for over 4 centuries. Parades occur throughout the state with bands, dances and floats. Carnival is known as Mardi Gras in the American city of New Orleans and contributes over 2% to the city's GDP. Carnival is not just a party in the sun. Quebec holds the 3rd biggest carnival celebration in the world. From humble beginnings, Carnival has become a truly global celebration, with millions of revelers all over the world contributing billions of dollars to the party.